Okay, so today we're going to discuss about methods. Okay, like what is method and how to create methods in Java, right? And what is the purpose of it? So again, we'll devote the day for the method today, and let's see what all do we understand. Okay, one thing which I mentioned, right? I do not have my digital pen with me, so I cannot draw things. So I'll try my best to explain on the ID itself, but let's see if I can do that. Okay, so so I'll try if I can do. I can use my mouse still, but let's see. Okay, so first of all, right, let's try to. Okay, I've already created the branch for today. Let me see it again. So we are on day 6 branch, right? And what I'll do is I'll remove this data type demo. I'll delete this file, and then I will add a one more for today's work. So this would be let's say method demo. Okay, so I'm creating a class with the name as method demo. Don't ask again, cancel. Okay, so over here, right now, again, I told you, right, if you have, what is the purpose of creating a method, right? First of all, although I made it clear on the initial couple of days, but again, I'm saying, if you have to write any logic, right, in your program, where does it go? It goes inside the methods only, right? And that is where the methods are needed, right? You cannot just start typing your logic inside the class. Okay, so let's say I've created a class like this, right? And if I start writing the logic, let's say this only, right? So the first logic is to print my name. If I think, if I can do this thing, see, again, it did not work. Let me remove this first. Let me type it myself. System dot out dot print ln. And
Why
if
it
I,
didn't work this way?
sorry,
Why it didn't took that shortcut method of writing
I'll tell
name?
you. I'll tell you. Oh, see again. Let's check that part also, right? I'll tell you. Let me just type here. My name is Akhil Jain. Okay, and let me. So this is I've written a logic outside a method and directly inside a class, right? And you can see it is right away giving some errors. Okay, if I hover over it, let me see if I can see the error. Let me save this. Let me try to compile this. Let's try to run this. Actually, see, it says Java identify expected, right? You will get some weird messages here. Why? Because you have not placed this logic inside a method. Let me first try to place it inside a method, and let's see if that sout works there or not. So I will say public void, let's say m1. Okay, I'm giving the method name like sout. See, it works, right? So it means that the shortcut of sout, right, did not work even outside of the method, right? So that is again something which id is taking control on. So maybe it is because that is the right thing to do, because you are not allowed to type system.out.println outside a method, right? Because it's a logic, and you cannot add a logic outside a method. It has to be inside a method only, right? So again, the need of why to create a method should be very clear. The methods are created so that you could write your logic inside it. Okay, so that is the first learning for today, right? Now let me remove this. Okay, now you can say, Akhil, but yes, till yesterday, right, when we were doing, I remember that okay, yesterday also what we did was we created all our variables, right? We created the variables inside the methods there, right? But in Java, right, you can create variables outside the method, so that is perfectly legal. So you can create variable like this: int a equals to 10, right? You can declare a variable, you can initialize it with a value also. So this is perfectly fine. So there is no error inside this, right? But remember, this is not a logic you are writing. You are just creating a variable and assigning a value to it. Okay, that is what you're doing. So this is perfectly legal. So there is no issue around it. Similarly, let's say if you want to create the instance of a class, right? how do you create, okay, let me say, how do you create an object of a class? Let's say I want to create an object of a class of this same class. Method demo d1 equals to new method demo, this one, right? Again, this is perfectly legal, you are allowed to do it. But here also try to understand, you're trying to create a variable of d1, right, of data type method demo, and you're trying to assign a value. Okay, that is what you're doing. So in both the operations, it is like you're creating a variable and trying to assign a value to it. So this is perfectly fine, you can keep it inside a method, inside a class like this, right? But if you try to add some logic, let's say you try to do this a plus plus, it will throw an error. It's a logic, right? You
Yeah.
cannot add a logic outside a method. What you could do is you could just add it here inside a method, and it is perfectly legal, right? So what did we learn? We learned that if we have to write any logic, it has to go inside a method, and if there is any variable declaration, right, or initialization of that variable, these are all allowed even outside the method also. Okay, so
There's
okay,
only one thing over here. So
yeah,
why
yeah,
this
please.
thing, why we are not giving that complete thing, public static void? Why that static keyword we are not giving?
Okay. See, again, we will learn about it, but try to understand that's a magic method, right? Again,
Yeah.
to run this program, I will add that method. I'm just trying to tell you like how do you create a method normally, right?
Okay. Okay.
That is a very special method, and you will find that you will not be creating such method a lot of time. Okay, it will be like once in a specific file.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you. We'll discuss about it. But let's first try to understand like how do you create methods? Or let me do one thing. Let me create that magic method. Okay, so that there is an entry point to our program. Right now it is fine. So now
Yeah.
we have our main method here. Is someone asking something? Okay, no. Okay. So this is our magic method, like as already discussed. So let's leave it as is. One thing which I was trying to tell on this part also, right? So see here, when I'm declaring a variable or when I'm creating a variable here and initializing a value, right? So it's like you're doing two things here. You are declaring a variable, and also you are initializing it with a value, right? You could also do this. You could say int b. This is also fine. Here what you did was you just declared a variable, but you're not initializing it. Okay, so this is also perfectly legal, right? You could initialize this value, the value of b, somewhere else. Okay, maybe here, let's say inside a method b equals to 20, right? This is fine. We will talk about instance variables, local variables, static variables, and all that later. Okay, so there we will have the discussion also. But just for today, I just want to focus on the methods part, and I'm just trying to explain you what you can keep inside the method, or what you can keep outside the method, right? So here, what I was saying is that we have to also understand on the variable side this part, right? That here at line number 4, what we did was it was just a declaration. Okay, we just declared a variable, right? And in the line number 3, what we are also doing is we are, where is that? Yeah, here. We are also doing what we are declaring. You're declaring plus you are initializing, right? So you're declaring and then you're initializing a with a value of 10. But here you just declare the value, right? And you can initialize it whenever you want. Okay, so this was about the variable, but again let's go back to our original discussion of methods. Now we all know about this magic method, right? This is like an entry point to our Java program. So we will just try to use it to run some of the methods, but let's first try to understand how to create methods. So the general syntax, right? So let's write the general syntax first. The general syntax of a method looks like this. General syntax is less. You have to use access modifier. Let me add access modifier. Okay, so this is the first thing which you need to have. Then after the access modifier, you need to have the data return type. Return data type. Sorry, return data type. Okay. Then third thing you need to have is you need to have the method name. Okay. Once you create the method name, you need to open the brackets, right? You need to pass here parameters. Okay. And then again, there could be one parameter or there could be n number of parameters, when whatever you think you require when someone invokes that method. Okay. And then you open up the braces, and just a second, let me edit multi-line comment. It would be easier. So what you have to do is you have to open up the braces. So you open up the braces here and you close the braces there, and inside these braces you will add the body of the method. Body of the method. Right? Now the example for this would be, the example for this would be, let's try to write this. Okay. Why is it complaining? Did I do something wrong?
Ending should be star slash.
Sorry, sorry, sorry. Yes, yes. My mistake. My mistake. Yes. Right. Now let me give some examples here. The example could be, let me write here. Let me close this. I don't need this. Okay. So example would be public. Again, access modifiers we have not discussed. We will devote again 1 day for access modifier. But as of now, just assume that the only access modifier is public. Okay. And when you say public, it's like open for the, or for the all the public across the globe. Let's say, right? So public means public. It's not private. It's like open for everyone. Okay. So public, right? So you gave one access modifier public, then you have to provide the written type. Data, I mean written data type, right? What does it mean? It means we yesterday learned about different data types, right? What are the different data types? We discussed in length about the primitive data types, right? Like int, short, byte, long, char, boolean, right? And all of that, right? So what it says is that you could use any of these plus some of the classes also, right? Which we'll talk later, but let's just keep it simple. So what you could do is you have to provide a data type here based on what value you would be returning from a method. Okay. Now there could be two options, right? One of the options could be that, let's say you do have an intention to return something, right? Then in that case you will have to provide some data type here. But let's say that the other case where you do not want to return anything from that method, in that case you should use a data type as void. Okay. So let's keep void as of now. So I will write here, uh, do not return anything from the method. Okay. That is, if you have that intention, then you should use void. Then you will give the name of the method. Again, the nomenclature of giving the method name is, you have to use camel case, just skipping the first word. So if you have two words, let's say method demo, right? So what you should do is, the first letter, which is the first word is method, right? So there everything would be small, right? And consecutive words after this, right, would be following the camel case. So you would write method demo. Okay. Like this. So this is your, where D is capital. Okay. D here is capital. If let's say we had another word, let's say test, so I will write T as capital in this. Okay. And then you will open up the braces, and if you require to accept some inputs, then you will accept some inputs. Let's say I want to accept an input of int type from a user, and I will provide a here, right? So this is like, again, the nomenclature which you have to follow is, the pattern here is that first of all you have to specify. Okay, here you will give the any variable name, right? Whatever you think you want to use, you can provide here. But here, right, you need to provide the data type of that variable. So here, by writing this, right, I am understanding that whenever someone would be calling my method demo test, right, someone will have to provide an input of type, what data type? Int. Okay. And only then this method can be invoked. Right, Shelly? You understand that part?
Yeah, can you just say again, once again, repeat the same sentence?
Okay. What I'm saying is, let's say see, what is the intention of creating methods? So that someone can consume it, someone can invoke it, right?
Yeah.
Now, when someone would be invoking this method, right, what they need to do is they need to make sure that they provide me an input while calling this method. And what would be the data type of that input? Int. Because I've mentioned int here, right?
Yeah, in the very first thing, right? When you have declared it and initialized it.
No, 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 no.
Then,
I am talking about this line only. Line, leave and everything apart. Did I create a there?
yeah.
Ah, okay. I created a there. Okay. Let me give it another.
Okay.
Let me give it another variable name.
Okay, so it is not means having any
It is
relation
not.
with
It
that
is.
part.
It is not connected with that variable there.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Okay. It is not connected to that variable there.
Then why
Let
we
me
are
give
giving
any other.
specifically?
Okay. Okay. Tell me. Okay. What do you think it is the purpose of creating a method? Create the purpose of creating a method is, first of all, I told you, right, that that is the only place where you could write your logic. But the original purpose of creating method is that they are usable, so that if required you can invoke them as many times as you want, right? Okay.
Mm.
Let's understand that part also. I'll talk about that part also, right? Or even let's do it right away. What I'll do is, let's say uh, I have an intention of let's say do what uh, let's find something. Okay, let's do something. Let's say that I want to find the square of a number. You Everyone remembers the formula which we have learned in our school, which was like a
Whole
plus b whole
square.
square.
Yeah.
A plus b whole square. So what does it mean is, so if I have to write it in this using the computer, it is like this: a plus b whole square equals to what? A
A square plus 2ab
square
plus b square.
plus b
2ab.
square plus 2ab, right? That
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
formula.
Yeah.
So let's say that currently, let me write this in a program, right? What I'll do is, um, I will create a variable. Let's say int c, okay. And for int c, what I'll do is, let's say I will have two variables first created. Int a, okay. Let me say int a equals to 10, okay. And int b again, when I'm writing all this, right, don't compare it to the up values, or let me change the values n1 and 2, so that you don't get confused. So see here. So let me cite 5 here, right? So as per the formula, what should be the output? I should write what I want to find the sum square, right? That is what I want to do. I wanted to find the square of a number, of square of two number. That is what I want to find, right? Now what I'll do is, the formula would be n1 caret twice
Yeah.
plus n2 caret twice plus n brackets here n1, sorry, n1, okay, let me write it again, 2 into n1 into n2, right? And just for clarity, let me keep it in their separate brackets, following the rule of board mass. Okay. Okay, why it is complaining? I have to put a semicolon. Okay, fine, right? Now if I print the value of it, right? Let me print the value. So square of two numbers. Square is square of two numbers, right? And let me just we are not invoking these methods, so we are fine with it. I do not have to do anything with it. Let's run this as is, right? So let's run this and see the output we make.
It is 115.
So it is saying 115, right? Is it 115? 15 square? No, we are doing something wrong. Just a second. Just a second. Mm, okay, sorry, my daughter. Okay, 10 plus 5, right? It is 15 square. What is 15 square? It is 225, I believe, right? Now it is giving 115. So we are doing something wrong here. a square. So what I gave here, n1 equals to 10, n2 2ab. So why it is returning something else? How it could be 115? N1 is 10 square. Okay, let me find this way otherwise. Enter d equals to
Instead, name those as N and M.
n. Okay. Maybe this two are maybe doing something. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You're right. Maybe yes. N M N and M here. Okay, let's try to run this and see if it gives me some output. No, it's still giving 115. Why it would give me 115? Let me see. Enter. Let me just do it right away. S out, and I will do what n caret 2. Okay. What I'm doing here, n raised to the power 2, which is fine, right? This is how this means.
Instead, keep it N into N.
But it should be n
N
into n.
N
But
star
n
N.
caret 2 means the same thing, right?
So it's
Yeah.
not taking.
Okay, let's
Okay,
try,
so
right?
it's still some-
Let's try to see this. Why it is behaving that way? Maybe we'll learn something new. Just a second. M, right? And it's right here. 2 into
Do we need to include math for this?
maybe. Let's see. Maybe let's see. It is giving 8,700. Okay, so this is not right. So this is not right. Okay, let us go with this approach then. Otherwise, we will use math.pow to get our output.
So,
But let's.
so you have to complete the bracket and then raise to 2. That it's correct.
But I did complete the bracket, right? Yeah.
No,
I
the
think-
n bracket raised to 2.
Won't make much of a difference, Adesh, because I mean it's just single variable there and
Just comment the line 19, Akhil. If you comment the line 19,
Mhm.
16, 17, and 18 are right only. Now you need to, Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Okay. No. That is correct. I understand that part. What I was trying to understand is why n raised to power that caret sign is not working. I'll see that part. But okay, now we'll get the output. We understood the
M
problem,
into M. Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah.
right? So we are good now. So let's print this output again. Let's see. We should get 225 now. Our squares, our maths is right now, right? So we do remember our concept back. Okay, great. So this is the square of a number, right? Now, Siali, right? See here. Let's say this time I gave you 10 and 5 to print the output, right? Next time I will give you another value. Let's say this time I will say, or let's say there is a exam going in and I gave you 5 different problems, right, for square only, to find a square only, right? But the values would be different. So it would be like this, right? Let me get this. So let's say that you're writing a program and you wrote these 3 lines to print your, to get your logic done, right? Then let's say I gave you another program for the same logic. So what you will do is, since you are not using methods, or you don't let's say, what I should say, let you write an and am. Okay, just to make things simple. Am, right? Now again, see here. So for the, what you have done here is, you're trying to use these lines, right? Line number 14, 15, 16 to find a square of a number, right? And again, you had the same need. And since you're not using the power of methods, what you will have to do is, you will have to again write the same logic again, right? So it's like
Yeah.
a duplicacy of code. Whereas the thing was that you could have used a reusable thing here, right? Which could have helped you to reduce the code, right? Next time, let's say you have an error in your let's say this formula itself, right? So now if there is a if later on you found okay the formula is not right, so how many places you will have to make a change? Two places, right? This place also and this place also, right? Only then your questions will start working, right? Now imagine if you're using such logic, right, in 1,000 different places, right?
Yeah.
So if you are not using methods there and just using, I mean, copying these values and again pasting, right? Try to understand the pain you are creating for yourself. Because now, if one error is found in any of this logic, right, you will have to make a change in all 1,000 places, right? Whereas what you could have done is, what you could have done is you could have created a method for finding a square, right? And just invoke that method whenever required. So what I'll do is I'll create a method now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is public. Okay. As of now, I'm just doing a void since we were talking about not returning anything, right? So let's say public void, and let me give a name of the method as find square. Okay. And now
Before that,
let's
what you said, why we're not giving it, since we are not
returning anything. I'll talk about now. I'm about to talk about that part also. Okay, returning. But try to understand when I'm saying I'm not returning anything, it means that I'm not going to type this line return.
okay.
Okay. If I have to return something from a method, I have to write this line. And what does it mean? I'll come back to that part. Okay. As of now, if you are using void, you do not have to write this line return.
Yeah.
Just remember this part as of now. Okay. So I have to find a square of a number and I have a formula. What is this formula? Let me copy it as this, not this one. Let me copy the other one, this part. Okay. Now, Sally, you will only answer, right? Tell me if I write this way, right? Now you see, right? In this method, find square, you can see I wrote this logic and now it is showing N and M as red mark, right? Why? And let me also print
Because
the,
you have not given any declaration of those variables before. No, you have directly given the logic.
right. So tell me, where should I provide this declaration of these variables?
You can do it anywhere. You said, right? It can be done before method or even inside the method.
Okay, let's do it before the method. Let's do it here. So what should I type?
Int a, sorry, int n is equal to something and int m is equal to something.
Int n equals to 10 something and int
Yeah.
m equals to let's say 20 this time, right?
Yeah.
Let's say.
So it is
Now if I will invoke the method find square, okay, let's say I invoke the method find square from here. Let me just remove everything. Okay. And let me be very and what I'll do is I'll use this method here, method d1, and I will call here d1 dot find square, right? We understand this part, right? Everyone, what I did? Sally, especially you.
we have created this method, no, and we have
We understand line number 10 first, right? We understand line number 10.
Yeah. Yes.
We created an object of a class, which is
Yes.
method demo, and we are assigning that object to a reference variable named as d1, right?
Yeah.
And now d1, you can put a dot after it and you can access the methods and the variables, right, which are part of this class, right?
Yes. So using
Right.
reference
Okay.
variable, we are
See here, if I put a dot after this, right, you will get all the methods which are available inside the class here, right?
yeah.
So one of the method available is find square. So I'm using that part.
And what we are
Now,
calling this this thing which you're doing, what we are calling it, this activity, d1 dot find square.
this is called as we are see currently we are calling a method, calling a method, invoking a method, right? You could use any of these words, calling a method or invoking a method, right? Okay, over here, right, when you declared, see again this part over here, right, this is called declaring a this is like declaring a method.
Yeah.
Okay, method declaration.
Yeah.
This is called method declaration. Here you have declared a method along with its body,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Now you have created a method That is what declaration means, right? But
Yeah.
you are not still using it. How will you use it? Once you're invoking that method, right? That is
Yeah.
where you will start using it, right? Now
Yes.
I told you the purpose of creating a method is that you want to have a
Reuse. Yeah.
reusable logic inside it, right?
Yes.
Reusable logic. Reusable logic. Now tell me one thing. Over here, if I invoke this method as of now, right? What is the value of n and m?
And 10 and 20.
10 and 20, right? Now
Yeah.
I am invoking a method here, find square, right? Right? And let's say I gave you two programs, right? I gave you two programs that Sally, please find the output of find square of 10 and 20, right? And also find me the square of 19 and 3, right? So this is
Yeah.
question 1 and this is question 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you will do this time? Tell me this. So if I use this as is, right, what it will print? What values is it is taking right now?
What we have declared below, 10 and
What we have
20.
declared below, right? This is
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, okay. So let's say that let me just extract this and put it above this method. Okay, the main method first of all. Okay, now I put it here so that it is more visible. Now, if I invoke this, right? So I will get the output of what? 10 plus 20 square, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
900. 30
Yeah.
square, right? Which is
Yeah.
900. Now, if I have to invoke this method, I mean, for 19.3, what should I do?
You have to again declare two new variables with those values, or you can either change the values for 10 and 20 and
So
make
tell
9.
me, so first tell me, okay, so you think that, okay, so line number 14 is still fine, right?
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll go up and change the value. You're saying this?
We can either change it if we don't need that question one, but I think we should declare it so that both the outputs are there with us.
So what, okay, so let's say that if I use, let's say my assignment is to just complete question 2 and I don't care about question 1. So now this is done 19.3. If I run it now, it will give the output as per 19 and 3, right?
Yeah.
484. Now tell me that I have a need where I want to run both the questions together, right? I want the answers of both the questions now. How will I get it?
Initializing, again, we have to declare those two new two variables with 10 and 20.
Okay, let me create a new variable. Let's say q equals to what?
10.
20, right? And let's say int, what is the other variable? Let's
P.
say r, right? And 10a, right?
Yeah.
Now tell me, if I use d1.find square now,
But then it will be confused, right? What to pick.
no, it is not confused, right? You have
Two times.
mentioned it, you have hard coded here that it has to use n and m,
Yeah.
right? So it will be using what? It will be
So you
always
have
be using
default.
this only,
Yeah, so you have invoked the method two times since we are asking to execute it twice for different values.
right? But the values, the different values we are not providing, right? How would find square knows that it has to pick a new value now,
Yeah.
right? Because inside the method we have hard coded with the variable name as n and m, right? So you are
Yes.
understanding the problem here, right? What is the problem?
Yes.
Right? If I run this now, it will take what? It will invoke this method twice with the same value, right? Which is what? 19 and 3, right?
Yeah.
But that is not our intention. The whole purpose was that I could change the inputs and get the different outputs, right? Using the same logic. Okay?
Yeah. So are we
So
going to create another method again?
no, that is what the point is, right? What you will do here is, if you create a new method, it is simply like you're duplicating your code again, right?
Yeah.
Which is defeating the purpose of creating a method altogether. So
Yeah.
what is the point is that somehow you need, when you are invoking this method, right, you have to provide the inputs to your methods at that point, that point itself, right? How will you
Okay.
provide those inputs? So if there was a
Inside.
way, that I could provide this 10, let's say 10 and 20 here itself, right? And 19 and 3, right? 19 and 3 here. Then I think it is fine, right? Then what will happen is, find square once invoked, right? It knows what values it has to work on,
Yeah.
right? And then it will use the logic which it has inside it to find the output, right?
Yeah.
And then our purpose will be solved. So in that case, we will have just one method, but inputs have to be given. How do we provide the inputs? We provide the inputs to a method while declaring by adding these parameters here. Okay, so what kind of inputs my method needs to accept? Int, right?
Yeah.
19 and 3, 10, 20 are what data type? In data type, right?
Yeah, integer, yes.
So what should I write? Let's say int n, int m. Okay.
Hmm.
So I did this, right? Forget about n and m variable which I have declared above, right? Let me remove
Yeah,
all
so
this.
there is no need of doing that, right? Yeah.
See, I will talk about these local variables, method variables, instance variables, static variables later. But as of now, just not to create some confusion here, I'm removing them, right? But if even if I leave them up there, right, it will not have an impact. But again, we have not discussed it, so I don't want to create any confusion, so I've removed it. So to make things simple, what I've done is, see here, I have created a method here, right? So this is a method declaration, right? You created a method here. You provided two inputs. You're saying that whoever invokes my method find square, they will have to provide me these two inputs. What inputs? An input one of type int data type, right? And in another input of type of what data type? Int again, right? And that is, and here you are just using this n here, this m here, right? To find your formula, and in the end you get the output. So this time if you invoke the method, right, like this, right, if you invoke the methods here, what will happen? It will print 900. Okay, I created a problem here. Okay, this is the problem. Let me run it again. See, I think I should get an output. Yes, 984, right?
Yeah.
So I hope everyone is understanding the power of methods here, right? What is the use of methods? Methods are helping us to create, to help to have our reusable logic placed in a method body so that you could use it as many time as you can, right? And what benefits do you get out of it? The benefit is that it's like a one place change. If tomorrow you want to change the logic of that operation, you have to just go inside one method and then make a change here, right? Right? So let's say tomorrow I wanted to not just print the value, I want to also print some text. So what I'll do is I'll add here. Uh, Output is this, right? So no two place changes, and when I will be invoking this again, it will print this now. Output is right. Right. So try to understand the power of methods. Now, since now we understood how to declare a method, how to invoke a method, right? This is what we understood, right? So let's just get over with the discussion first. So over here, right, I told you the syntax. The syntax is you have to first provide access modifier. You have to provide the return type of the thing which you want to return from the method. Currently in this method, we are not returning anything. You can see there is no return statement, right? And then you have, if that is the case, you have to use void here. Then you have to provide the name of the method, find square, and you have to provide the inputs which you expect to someone to provide you when someone is invoking this method. Okay, and then you open up the braces, you give the logic of the body of the method here, right? And this is how you create a method. This is method declaration, and this is your invocation part. And we understood, like, you, if you have to invoke a method of a particular class, you will have to create an object of that class. Then using that variable name d1, you will do a dot operation, and then you will be able to access the methods of that class like we did here. And then when invoking, you have to adhere to the value, I mean to this signature of the method, right? Here, now let's do one more thing, right? Now here, right, we know that this method over here accepts only two inputs which are of type what? Int. Let's try to do something else, some funky thing, right? What I'll do is I'll create d1 dot find square, and this time instead of providing an int value, let's provide a string value. Okay, let's see whether our methods helps to run or not. So I'll set Akhil here, and the second thing I'll provide Jen. Let's see, does our program complains or not? Okay, you can see it is already complaining, right? Why it is complaining? Let's hover over it. You can see, right, it says that the first parameter, which was n, right, you have to provide, it was expecting it to be int, but the value which you have given is of type string, right? And which is not correct. So you cannot do a mismatch here. Your method accepts int, but you're trying to provide a string, which is not correct, so you should not do it. Okay, but if I use, let's say, let's say I use char, will it work? I don't know. Let's see. Why this worked? Anyone? We discussed this yesterday. It was trying to accept an int value, but I am providing a char value. Why? And if I run it right, you will see that it will work. Let me show you. Let me just comment these things out. Okay, let's run this. And you will find a numerical output only. Let's see. And this is the output. 38,025. Anyone can explain this? Okay, someone is saying, okay, stop. SKI version. Yes, SKI conversion of the characters, right? So this is what is happening here, right? Yes, from yesterday's meeting, right? We all learned that if you provide a character value to an int, right? What Java does is Java first finds the SKI value of these characters. In this case, I think the SKI value of small a is, I believe, 65. If I'm not
97.
wrong, 97, sorry, 97, right? 97 is the value of a. So here, when this method is getting invoked, right, you can understand this is happening like this. It is doing something like this. D1 dot find square. It is like it is providing 97 here and 98 here. This is what it is doing. Okay. Again, this has nothing to do with the method. It is from the concept of understanding what is the conversion happening inside Java, right? When you try to, do a mismatch of the data types, you had to provide an int, but you provided char. So in that case, Java has a rule that Java says, okay, in that case, what I'll do is I'll convert that char value into a SKI value and assign it to the int variable. That is what it did here. Okay. Okay. So, but the key takeaway here is that you should adhere to the data type which you have specified in your method, right? So if it is accepting int, so you should provide an int value only. 98, 100, whatever you think needs to be provided, you should provide that. Okay. Okay. Let's move ahead. So what we learned till now, first of all, methods are created for the reusability of our code so that you could create all your reusable logic inside your method. And you can create as many methods as you want, right? So one method should be doing should have one responsibility, right? So here in this method, I'm trying to just find a square. So it should only find a square, nothing else. It's not that it will start finding the cube also and other things also. If you want to find this cube of a number, what you should do is you should create another method with the name as find cube, right? And then accept the inputs accordingly and have the logic inside it. Okay. Now, so this is one part, the reusability part. Second, the signature of the method. Okay, when I say signature is this. The complete thing over here is the signature of a method. Okay. When I say signature, it includes the parameters it is accepting, the data type it has, and the access modifier it has. Okay. Based on complete signature, a lot of things depends on it. Okay. The invocation part, the data type, the output of the method, all of that depends on that part. Now we created one method which is having void. So it is doing what? It is void means it will not return anything. Okay. Now let's see the other case. Let's see a program, a method which will which will return the output. Okay. And what does it really mean? What do we mean by returning the output? Okay. Let's understand that part. So for that, what I'll do is I have to make sure that I'm not using void and I can use anything else in the world. Okay. But you don't have to use void. Okay. Just remember that part. So let's say that this time, okay, in this method over here, what I was doing, I was finding the square and I was printing the output here itself, right? In the same logic of the method. Okay. Let's say I don't want to do it. I don't want to print it. Rather, I want to give that output to the person who is making an invocation to my method. Okay. So I will leave up to him whether he wants to print this or consume it further. That is on to that person. I don't want to, have that decision. I want that decision to be made by that other person. So what I'll do is, let me give a name first. Let me give a name of a method. Let's say what I should do. Let's say find square only. Okay, this time let's just the second variant of the square, just to show you the difference. What I'll do is find square 2, and again I will accept two inputs, int n, int m. Okay, the open the braces, and over here, right, I will again copy the same logic. I will put it here, and what I'll do is I will now this is the point, right? I don't want to print this, right? What I need to do is I have see at this line number 28, I've already find the square of a number by this formula. So after this line, I will get the output stored in this variable itself. But I don't want to use it here itself. Rather, I want to output this to someone else, right? So what is the data type of this variable which I want to return, which I want to return as an output? Int, right? So it means that whoever will invoke this method, I want to return an output to that user, but the output would be of what data type? Int. So what you should do is you should type here return. Okay, return is the keyword again used in Java. So you will write return, and then you will uh, place the value here which you want to return. What I want to return here, Chiali, what I want to return from this output from this method here.
Uh, the square.
The output of the square, right?
Yeah.
So what I should do is, and this is the variable which is holding that output, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need to do what? I will put this value here,
Yes.
right? Now the last part on this method, when in our signature here, right? This part is still pending, right? The data type. What data type I should mention here?
Int.
Int, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because I am returning a int value from this method.
Yes.
Okay. Now when I say I'm returning, right? Let's see that thing also. Now I have this method square 2. Let's use this. And now I will go up over here. Again, I have to use d1 only, d1 dot. Now you can see the find square 2 is also available. Let's use this, right? And again, if you want to see what inputs I have to provide, you can just hover over it and you will get it here, right? It shows that there's a method find square 2 and it needs two input of type n and m. Now you can provide accordingly. Let's provide a value, let's say 5, 6. Okay. So we're done. Now, there, although it is not appearing like there's a difference here, but let me show you now. See the return type of this method. If you would see this method, right, you see this, it says this find square 2 and it shows an int, right? Because why it is showing int? Because you, when you declare the method here, you mentioned int there, right? Now see the output of, I mean, if you hover over it, right, you can see find square is returning you what? A void. Okay, it's a void. So void means it will not be returning anything. So okay, Sally, like, okay, let's say once someone invoked this method, right? Someone invoked this find square 2. The output returned from this method is of what type? Int, right?
Yeah.
Because that is what we mentioned there.
Yes.
Int. Now, how to collect that value? Since it's a the output returned is of data type what? Int, right? So
Yeah.
in which kind of variable I should accept this? Int only, right?
Int. Yeah.
So I will say, let's say int output 2 equals to this. You see, it is
Why
not
we
giving me.
give?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, please.
Okay, but why we give it like that means?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. But you understand this part, right? What will happen here is if you run this find square 2 with 5 and 6, right? It will find the square of these numbers, which is like 11 square, which is 121, right? So it will find that output and assign that 121 to output 2. Okay?
Yeah.
This is what it will do. Let me show you. Let me show you this. As out, output 2. Right? Let's see. From my understanding, it should print 121. Okay? Why? See the okay. Let's run this first. You see 121, right? And if I do something like this, Let me comment this out. Let me comment this out. And I'm directly invoking a method inside system.out.println, right? Like this. And I would be running this method now. Let's see the output again. 121 again, right? So what does it mean is that when you invoke d1.find square 2, right? The control move to which line? Okay, let me open in the right grid also. And let me just close some of the browsers and things. Now see this line. Find square 2, right? What happened is when line number 15 was reached, right? Okay, when line number 15 was reached here, it invoked what? d1.find square 2. And it provided two inputs, 5 and 6, right? So as soon as this line got invoked, the control moved from line number 15 to line number 33, which is here, right? And here the find square 2 was invoked with the value as 5 and 6. 5 and 6 are received here. It found the output according to this formula and stored that value in square of two numbers, right? And then you're returning, you're not printing the value here. You're returning the output, whatever you received. What is the value received here? 121. Right, Charlie?
Yeah.
Right? So here you got 121 and then you're returning it as int, right? And you have written statement here. So what is happening is that find, it is like find square. It is that this invocation here, right? This invocation here is when completed, it will return a value of type int, right? And what value it will hold? This value. So here you're getting what? 121 as an output, right? But if you do the other thing here, okay, so I think, okay, let me just close this. Let me remove this. This part here, right? Now coming to this part here, right? Okay, now are we clear like why we were able to do this part here? Everyone? Or is there any confusion on this part? Why we were able to do this line here? Like why we were able to assign this method invocation to a variable like this? Any doubt anyone has on this part? Okay, I'm taking it as a no. Then tell me, I will ask, okay, can I do this here for the find square method int output 1 equals to this? Can I do this? You can see it is already complaining. Now let me ask someone so that they can explain me why it is happening that way. So let me ask Ashok, if you can tell me like why it is happening that way, that this is giving me an error, but here it is not giving me an error.
Because we shouldn't pass any, I mean, there is no return type for line number 10 within the function method declaration. But whereas we are trying to catch the output, that's the reason.
Right here, right? See, what will happen here is when this thing is getting executed, right? When this line is getting executed, the control moves to this line number 26, right? And
Yeah.
things are getting executed. From
Yes.
this method here, right? You are not returning anything.
Correct.
There is no return statement. So nothing is
Yeah.
getting returned. So if you're not returning anything, so how can you assign it to a variable like this? This will not result into anything, right? It is like nothing here, right? It is like nothing.
Yeah.
It will not return anything. So you cannot assign this to a variable like this. Okay. But in the other case, if you are returning something from it, right? And whatever you're returning, let's say here we're returning an int value. So accordingly, you can assign it to a variable of that same type, right? So here this works,
Yes.
right, everyone? Okay, Sudhakar, did you understand this part?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Sally, you understood or no?
Yes, I understood. But I think we have done too much of things. I'll have to see it again in what different ways we did it.
Okay, and more importantly, you will have to do hands-on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. You will have to do a lot of practice. Then uh, we create a function, right? Let's say my writing. Let's say we create a function func1, right? And this is being invoked here, right? So this is the function here, func1, and okay, this is very bad. Sorry. Okay. Let me try if I can. Let me write it the simpler way. Just a second more. Uh, Find square, right? Oh man, this is very bad. Just a second. Can I take a shot of it? Okay. Okay, I don't think I'll be able to use that port today, but find, let me say, find square, right? This was the method, find square. And here I had to accept two inputs, int a, int a, and int b, right? And the written type of this method here is that let's say in the first case I provided void, right? So this is the box which I had, and I wrote the logic of finding the square, and I did what I said, int let's say output equals to the formula, whatever formula we had, and then I was just printing that out, SOPLN, right? And I was printing out whatever output I had. Now when someone was making an invocation to this method, right? So I was writing like this, d1 dot find square, and then I was just providing the what, I was providing the value of 5 and 6, let's say 5 and 6, and the once the invocation is happening, right, it just invokes this method, where 5 goes to a, right, and 6 goes to b, right? Now because the written type of this method is void, right, and I'm not having a written statement here, so there is no return statement mentioned, right? So it is not there. So it is not there currently. So what will happen is this method will run this line, it will run this line and just come out of it. And as an output of this line, it will return you what? Nothing. It will not return you anything. And since you're not returning anything, you are not getting an output after running this. So you cannot assign it to any variable. Let's say int a or string a or whatever you want to create a variable with, you cannot assign this value because you're not returning anything from this method. You're returning nothing, right? In the other case, when you are returning something, right, which is in that case, let's say I'm not using void, rather I'm using int, right? So what I'll do is I'll have a written statement and then I'll be returning o here. So what will happen in this case is when someone would be making an invocation, again 5 goes to a, 6 goes to b, it finds a value, and then here I'm returning return o, the output. So what will happen here is it is not in this case, right, it is not the nothing part, rather the output whatever we send. So the output would be 5 plus 6 11. So it was 11 square is 121. So this time 121 is coming, right, as an output of this line. In the other case, it was nothing. And what is 121? 121 is of data type what? Int, right? So you can assign such a value to what kind of a variable? A variable which is of type int, right? Right? And that is why it worked. Okay. Does it make more? Does it bring some clarity to everyone, Sally?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, great. See, I'm focusing on Siali today. It doesn't mean that that everyone else has to not reply back, right? If you have any query, please tell me, right? Velen, it is fine, right, with you? You understand everything on this part?
Yes, yes, okay.
Okay, great. Okay, find square two. So what we learned again, I'm just repeating myself again. So what we did learn was that we create methods so that we could have reusable code inside this. First of all, we learned that that there are two parts of creating a method. One is the declaration part. So we declare the method, right? and we provided the logic of the body of the method inside these curly braces. The method also has parameters, right? These are parameters. This is a name. This is a written type. Okay, let me write this. I think it would be much more easier. So if you are creating a method, what you should be doing is, let me write here. So when you're creating a method, what you should do is, I have a text box here. So what you should remember is you have to provide the name of the method. You have to provide the name of the method. The first thing you have to remember. The first thing is this. Second thing is you have to provide the return type, right? You have to focus on the return type of the method. So it could be what? It could be void if you don't want to return anything, or if you do want to return anything, then you should provide something which can be written, right? Int, string, char, right? Something else. So accordingly, you can have that value. And if you have used other than void, right? In case of void, you will have what? You will have no written, right? You will not return anything. In case of anything else, int, char thing, right? You will have a written statement. And what else? Method also has parameters, okay, which acts like an input to your method. So methods, so parameters are what? Inputs of your method, inputs of methods, right? And then you have, and this thing over here, right? This part is the output, this is your input, and then this was the name of your method, and the logic which you are writing inside the parenthesis, right, is your body, is your body of the method, body of the method. Okay, now this is how it all works. And okay, my light went.
Declaration, right?
Second. Sorry.
A declaration part.
Yes, declaration part also. Just a second. Again, yeah, I think, yeah. So there are two parts to when you're creating a method. One is everything I mentioned here, right? This is all part of your the declaration part. So this is your declaration. When you're declaring a variable, you have to think of all these things, right? And then when you want to invoke the method, right? When you want to invoke the method or call the method, it means the same thing. Then you have to make sure that you are aware about this declaration type. What is the name of the method? What kind of input it accepts, right? What kind of output it returns? And based on this, you will make an invocation, right? So that input to make an invocation, right, comes from the declaration only. So whatever the signature of the method is, accordingly you will make an invocation. Okay. Okay, I think we are good on this part, on the method part, that and all this is fine. Now let's see the other thing, right? Let's take some very quick examples. Okay, so let's give some lot of examples here. Okay, I have created a lot of mess here. Let me use another class. Let's, okay, someone is asking something. Just a second.
Yeah, okay, let's meet Fijula. Just one doubt.
Yeah, please.
What about the access specifiers for the declaration part? Don't we have to specify that? The access,
Sorry?
the public
Yes.
parameter
Okay.
access specifiers.
Okay. Yes. See, again, as of now, we have not discussed access in detail, right? Once we
Okay,
discuss, I
got
will
it.
explain that part also, right? And
Got
again, when you talk about access modifiers, right, they are applicable at a lot of levels. They are applicable for variables also, for methods also, for the class also, right? Constructors, right? Again, these are all the things which you can provide an access on. So once first we need to understand what are different types of access, but as of now, everyone just use public as access modifier. Okay, just
Okay.
remember that there is only one access modifier as of now, which is public, and always use public whether you're creating a variable, a method, or class. Okay, always mark it as public. We'll talk about different access modifiers in the upcoming class, right?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. Now let's take some examples. Okay, rather let's create a program. This time we will be designing a calculator. Okay, let's use the power of whatever we have learned till now on the data types, and we will also use the power of methods, how it will work. So let's try to create a calculator. Okay. And again, we are not going to do very fancy things. We're just going to keep things very simple. Okay, let's say that it's a very basic calculator which I have. Let me on my legacy watch, which it has plus sign, minus sign, multiply, and divide. Okay, and that is all the operation it can do, and it will accept only two inputs. Okay, so first tell me one by one, everyone. Let me name people, right? Then only it will make sense. Uh, First of all, let me ask Sudhakar. Sudhakar, tell me if I have to create a method which will perform the addition, right? Give me a signature of such a method. I want to declare a method which will help me to do an addition, and I'm giving you that I need to accept two inputs. So tell me the signature of it. The method declaration. How should it?
We need to return anything to that method.
Yes, we need to return the output. We need to return the output.
Yeah, the public, the access modifier,
Public,
the return
okay.
type, the return type, whatever, which one.
So you tell me, like, let's say that I want to accept, I want to return and the output as the int value, right? So what should I type here? Int, right?
Int.
Int, okay. Then what should I type?
The name of the method.
Okay. What should be the name of the method?
Addition.
Addition. Okay. Should I write this?
Yeah.
Okay. One mistake here. Not a mistake. As per the nomenclature, you should not keep your first letter to be capital. So it should be small. Okay. And now what else? What should I do now?
It will accept two parameters like int A.
Okay.
Int B. Whether.
So what should I do now? Should I write here directly int A, int B?
No. Open the parentheses after the method.
Open the brackets, right? Like this.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And inside these brackets, I have to accept two parameters. So that I can work on those two parameters and find a sum, right?
Yes.
So let's say, what name can I provide to this variable?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
whatever, right? You answered very correctly, right? Whatever. So the answer is for everyone again, right? You can write my name here, right? Let's say Akhil. It is also valid, right? So this is, see, there is a rule of scoping, right? We will talk about scoping rule also. But as of now, understand whatever you're doing inside a method, right? The scope of these variables remains inside the method only. It does not start impacting the outside world. Okay. So, okay, let me keep things simple. Let me write just A here. Okay. And let me give B, right? Sudhakar?
Yes.
And then what should I do?
Open the curly braces and
add the logic.
Inside the braces, yeah, we have to write the logic here.
Okay, thank you. Just now let me ask someone else. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me ask someone. Let's ask Siddesh. Siddesh, tell me what logic should I write here?
So we can add the A plus B for addition.
A plus B, okay, I did. Then what?
And assign to any variable for that output.
Okay. So what should I type? It is showing me some red line here. Tell me the complete line which I should type.
So sum is equal to A plus B and
sum equals to A plus B. Okay. Then again, it is still complaining. What is the error here?
Semicolon.
Semicolon. Okay. One error gone. Sum is still shown as red. What is the error there?
Bracket A plus B. You can put it.
Okay. That is not the right answer, but okay, let me keep it.
Okay.
Then what? It is still showing an error.
So sum is data type like int.
Right. You did not specify the data type of that variable, right?
Yes.
That is a mistake. So what you have to do is, what data type I should use here?
So int.
Int, right? Why did you decide int?
So it's a means
because you are accepting two inputs which are of type int, right? Yes, and most probably the addition of those two int values will result into an int value only.
Yeah.
Right? That's why int seems to be the right output type here, right? Okay, fine. And then what should I do next? I can see a red mark here, right, over my braces. Why that is the case? Is there something missing now?
Yes, you cannot be complete the class braces. So
No, the classes braces are here.
no. So you have to return the whatever the
Ah.
assigned to the sum. Yeah.
So what should I write here? Tell me the complete
So,
line.
so return sum
Hmm.
semicolon.
Okay, great. Now we are all fine, right? Now this yellow line here, it says local variable sum is redundant. Sum is redundant. Why it is saying redundant? Okay, will okay, let me first remove these brackets. Okay, and let me tell you why it is saying is, it is saying that you just created a variable here and just using as is, right? So instead of doing this, can't I do something like this? Let's say, okay, first
Just
of all,
written
whatever
A
you,
plus B. Just written A plus B. instead of,
yes, written a
referring
plus b,
that.
right? So again, what you are doing is you unnecessarily created a variable in sum, and then you are just returning that output, right? If I was to do something like this, let's say sum plus plus, right? Now you see, you created a variable, you consume that variable, and then you did some operation on it, and then you're returning it, right? Then it is happy.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not focusing on this part a lot today, but understand that this was the problem, right? And since I did this, it is fine. But let's use what Siddesh mentioned, and we are still fine, right? It is not a red thing, so we are still good with it. Okay, just a second. Now my battery is about to die. Just a second. Where is the- Okay, now we are fine. USB device not recognized. Is it charging or not? Okay, just a second. Huh? Charging or not? Plugged in. It is plugged in. My what's this? Okay, now my mouse is also working. Okay, great. So okay, right. So we got our first method, right, everyone? Let's create another method. Let's do it for the division part. Okay, and the rest of the things are simple, so we'll not spend time on that part. But let me ask someone for the division part. So if someone can give me an output on this. So I think let's ask Atif, if you can tell me what should I write for the division part here, the method for it.
Yeah, okay. So public
Public.
int
Okay, int
division
division.
in bracket int A and
Int
B, A
int
comma
and
B,
b
and int result or int
Okay, let's say int division, let's say, right,
uh,
equals to
A by B, A divided by B,
a divided by b, and that's it, right? And what should I do
and
next?
you can return the division.
You can return the division. Okay, fine. Now tell me one thing, Atif, right? When you said that it should be int, why did you decided it should be an int?
Okay. So it can be float also because decimal part can be there.
Right,
You can,
right.
yeah.
So everyone, it should be clear to you, right? Let's say you're dividing 3 by 2, right? What is the output? The output is 1.5. Now, if you try to store 1.5 into an int value, it will remove that 0.5, right? And it will just hold the int value out of it. So it will just hold one, not that decimal part. If you have to store that decimal part also, right? The correct data type is float or double, right? So we decided yesterday that float is suffice all our needs. So we should be using what? Float. Okay. So in this case, instead of using float int, what we should use? Float. Any queries on this part? I hope this is clear, right, everyone? So just a second. Okay, so where we were. Okay, so we created two functionalities into our calculator. One is addition, one is division, right? Similarly, let me complete the other part. Let me add for multiplication. So again, multiplication, we are good with the int part, because if you multiply 3 into 2, it's still 6. If you multiply 10, 20, it is still a whole number, right? 200. So let's just write it very quickly. Multiply, and let's give it a value int p. Okay, and then we'll do what? We will do a multiplication int multiple equals to a into b, right? And then we will do return multiple. Okay, right? Let's say let me get one more subtraction int subtract and int a int b, and what we'll do is subtract, right? Int subtract equals to a minus b, and then we'll do return subtract. Right, now we have created four different features which my calculator has: addition, division, multiply, subtract, right? And then, okay, I have not, okay, now I need to invoke these methods. What am I missing here? Anyone?
Magic method.
Magic method. So let me add that magic method, right? And here, what should I write here? Let me ask people. uh Madhukar, Madhukar, please tell me, what should I type here if I need to invoke this addition method? You there, Madhukar? Madhukar is physically there but not there, right? Okay. Uh, Let me ask Sangeeta.
Yeah, we need to create object of this class
Okay.
to
Can you
access the
please?
methods.
Yeah. Can you please help me with the
Uh,
line?
yeah, calculator
Okay.
C1 equal to
Right. C1 equals to
new calculator.
new calculator. Okay. Not okay. And this is, we have to put these brackets also, right?
Yeah,
These
yeah,
two
yeah.
brackets. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what is the next line?
C1 dot addition. That method
Addition.
name.
Okay. And let me give one.
Yeah.
Tell me.
We
Yeah.
need to
Please
pass
tell me.
area. I mean parameter.
Let's say 10 and 8, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now tell me one thing, Sangeeta, why did you require to create an object of a class to access this method? Is there any other way that you can access this method directly?
No. No, we wanted to create object because Java is object oriented.
Okay. So is there any other option apart from this thing which you did as of now? As of now? No? See, what you gave, it's a right answer, right? So as of now, we are able to do it this way only, right? But I will show later, right, that there is a power of static thing which helps us,
Oh
where we
yeah,
do not have
class
to
name
create,
dot method
yes,
name, right?
where we do not have to create the object of the class, right? We can directly access that method. But again, we'll talk about this into a static class, but not now. But as of now, we are good with this part, right? So Sangeeta did mention this correctly. So this is how the output would be, right? C1 dot addition. Now again, when I run this, right, if I run this command, just do a dry run first in your head, right, and tell me the output. Let me ask this output from someone else. uh Let me ask Rafaelia. Well, can you tell me, if I run this line over here, right, if I run this main method, what will happen and what will be my output? Tell me one, tell me the output here. What will be the output? It will give 18. Okay. Now tell me which line will help me to print that 18 thing. I do not see that line which will print 18 or any output of this. Can you see? Am I printing something? Right? You can see this code, right? It will not give anything, right? Okay. Why it will not giving anything? Let's say now I need to print something, right? What should I make changes here? What changes should I make here? Rafaelia, you only tell me. I now want to print that output somehow, right? What should I do? Let me first run this, right? Just to make everyone aware that this will not, it will not run anything. It will not print anything. You can see it did not print anything, right? There is no output. Why there is no
SOP
output?
we didn't give, no?
Sorry?
Yeah, SOP, same thing. System.out.print.
Right? System.out.println is not there, right?
Yeah.
Now, Rafael said system.out.println in add method. Okay. So let's do it there. System.out.println sum, right? And if I run this now, I will get the output, which is fine, 18. Now, Rafaelia, tell me, I don't want to do it here. I removed it from here. Now tell me, how can I get the output printed? Any suggestion, anything, Rafaelia? No? Okay. No worries, no worries. Let me ask someone else.
So you can add store into that particular variable, and this variable you can print in a main method.
Right. That is what we have to do, right? But why it is possible to do that way?
Because you addition method, you have to return the type of integer, and this
Right.
integer, it cannot be written in that main method.
Right.
Which
Right.
is
So I can do something like this. If I do, again, we have to first understand what is the output, what is the data type of this method. The data type, the output of the data type is, sorry, the the data type of the output thing is int a, right? So we can store into int variable, let's say int c equals to c1 or addition. Now c will hold the output of this method invocation. So this is getting saved in the sum value. It is getting returned as an output. So 10 plus 8 equals to 18, and then it would be assigned to c, and I can do it like this, right? Now we are all happy. Okay, now the output is 18, right? It will print this. Okay. Now let me go back to Siali. Now Siali, tell me, if I change the return type of this method to void, what will happen? Currently, I have the return type as int, right? If I change this to void, what changes should I do, and what is the output I get?
Return is not required. Then return, yeah.
Okay, let me.
Invoke is not required. Yeah.
So then I will not the invoke. You should not. Invoking is happening here, right? So this is still required to invoke the method.
Calling. Okay.
Okay. So first of all, let's do changes one by one. So you said I have to use void here, right? And I don't need to return anything. So I am not returning anything. Okay. Now this is done. Now this started giving an error. Why?
Yeah, because we have created object over there, no?
Where?
And
you see the line, right?
Yeah, we have created the object and we are calling, and then we are what we are doing? We have initialized and called it, no?
Tell me the line number and it's accordingly tell me, like, where are you pointing out? You created the object at line number 4, right? You created the object of class line number 4. At line number 5, after equal to, you are making an invocation. Invocation is this part.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? This is the invocation. This is the method declaration. Right?
Yeah.
We should be clear on the terms we are using, right? These are very important. Okay. So this is the invocation. Now here you are assigning the output of this invocation to a variable C, which is of type int.
Yeah.
Right? Why this is returning you an error now?
Yeah, because we have given a void, no, and void does not ask us to give any return method. Sorry,
Right.
does not ask us to call any method. Yeah.
No. Now again, you're using a wrong statement. It is not asking us to call, right? You are anyhow making a call or invocation, right? So invocation or call is still required of a method to invoke it, right? But the part is the assignment has not to be done, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're not returning anything.
Yes.
So this line over here is incorrect. You cannot assign the this method invocation to a variable of type C
Mm.
because you're not returning a int here. So why are
Yes.
you assigning it to a variable of int type?
Correct.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the correct answer is you will remove this and we are fine. Now
Yes.
the challenge is that you cannot. Now the challenge is you do not have a C variable, so this line also creates an error. So let me
Yeah.
remove it, right? So now tell me, since this is returning void, this is I mean this has a data type void, and void does not return anything. So I cannot. So but I still want to print my sum. Where should I add it, and how to get that value printed?
In the body
In the body of
of
the method,
method.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Right. So there
Yeah.
is no way that I can print that output here, right?
No. No.
Outside that method, right? Because I'm not returning anything from that method, which I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
consume and then use it after laterwards,
Yes. Yes.
right?
But in otherwise scenario, we could have done it if we have given any. If we would have asked it to return something, right? Then
Right,
we
like
would have
int, right?
allowed it. Yeah. Yeah.
Like int here, right? Like we were doing
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So we did
Yeah.
void here, and now because of this, what we should do is we should print the value here itself, right? If we want
Correct.
to, right?
Yes.
Because what is happening because of this, it is just making an invocation. Now,
Yeah.
whatever the method will do, this will remain internal to it, right? It
Yes.
is not returning anything, so the outside world will not know what it did, right? At least they will not get the output from that method, right? Whatever it is written here, it will do that, perform the action, and it is over with it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So let me
So
run
first
this
we
and
created this object, and then what we did is we initialized that object, right? C1 dot addition means that's what we did, right?
right.
What we
So
yeah.
mhm. So here, this is the object creation. See, this is the object creation, right? And then you create,
Yeah.
then okay, you created the object, you assign it to a variable of C1, right? Which is of type calculator. Again, this is like how you create the object of a class, right? This
Yeah.
is the complete statement.
Yes.
Once you use, now you have that variable name C1, then you use the dot operation on it, and you can access what? All the methods and the variables of the class calculator. So addition is one such method of it, right? So you are using it this way, and then depending on the signature of the method, you are providing the values 10 and 8,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then you are invoking it. This is the invocation part. This line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as soon as this line gets executed, it will move the control of the execution from line number 5 to line number 9, and it will run this code, right? This method here. So whatever is residing inside this will get executed, and once this gets done, the control from line number 13 moves back to line number 5 in the end, and what if there was anything after this would get executed. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how the execution happens. And this is what we should understand about methods, how to create methods, how can you return a value from a method, how you cannot return a value from a method, how to invoke a method, or how to write the signature of a method. Okay. Okay, great. I think we are good for today, and this is a good